I don't know why, but today I feel inspired to act like that guy on TikTok that's like, well, hello, TikTok, right? So you go, well, hello, YouTube. But nah, this is Kurt Von Onen, your host of the Mañana morning check-in. And folks, I feel like today, of all days has an agenda. I almost feel like I want to just work through some things. Oh, how do you know you're making it? How do you know uh, when the stuff that you're making, when the content that you're producing is getting results? How do you know when people are beginning to pay attention? Well, for me, that came in the form of an email last night through the Mañana website. I was John Maxwell certified in 2016 when I was sold the program. And let's be clear, I love John Maxwell. I think he's a great author. I love his ideologies. I was really hooked on what they used to call the Maxwell philosophy. The Maxwell philosophy was based off of the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. Was one of his, it was his first, real book. As far as, anyway, I'm digressing. I'm starting to give the guy a commercial when his organization actually gave me kind of a cease and desist email. And so I paid the $5,000. I got certified through the John Maxwell program. And, to do that, and you all know, if you follow me, I'm super proud that I was able to knock that out and get that done. But before my certification, we were told things like, it's a lifetime certification. You have access to all of John's material. You can use it for teaching, for producing, for, you can use it for any which way. You're going to sit with the owners of and the organizers of business. You're going to meet the CEO of Delta. You're going to, meet people from these oil companies. Your ability to network. You're going to be put in rooms with these famous people, and everyone's going to help you find success in your leadership path. Now, that was, to their credit, that's when they had something like 11,000 people in the organization. Now, I had my chance to join, and be one of the original 12 or 20, and my old story through that. I missed that chance. I chose not to take that chance because financially it wasn't a good opportunity for me and my family at that time. Not an opportunity. It was a great opportunity, but it was not feasible at the time the opportunity was offered. And so I was able to make good on this, on this missing piece of my puzzle in 2016, and I was thrilled to do it. And I was hooked on the Maxwell philosophy. I learned the Maxwell philosophy, and I was ready to train the Maxwell philosophy. And then right after I got certified, they came out with some policy changes in the organization. And one of those policy changes was you can no longer teach the Maxwell philosophy. They were selling people on mentorship programs for an extra $3,000 a year, and, kind of like VIP level services, all at incremental prices. They had tools and resources that came out for people that paid extra, and people that paid the $5,000 were getting a reduction in assets and things they're allowed to use. Now, I always find this unique because, I used to train motorcycle technicians, and I would train a motorcycle technician how to rebuild, an air-cooled Ducati. Like, say, hey, you're going to rebuild the engine on this air-cooled Ducati, right? And I would train them how to do that. Now, could you imagine if I trained a technician how to do that, and then a year later said, you can't do that anymore? Well, that's basically what happened with the Maxwell team, at least in my perception, right? So I want to be super, super clear. Like, that was my perception of it. I didn't get angry. I didn't get resentful. I just kind of moved on to other things and, started focusing on things like, hey, what are some missing elements I see in leadership publications? Let's start reading some other leaders, right? You guys know that I read the Kevin Cope book with everybody and did a study on that. Grant Cardone, Dave Ramsey. There's just a ton of these other leaders that I began to look at, right? Even like Tim Ferriss type books, right? So I was like, okay, well, let's take a look at all these different leaders and let's start to put things together. And for me personally, I noticed that there was an angle or a perception of leadership that was missing. And so I began to work on my own work to begin to write and publish a book from that perspective. And I'm really glad that I did, because, timing is everything, right? And here is the timing that I'm experiencing. Last night, I received an email that said, hey, we've noticed that you've got John Maxwell material regarding leadership on your Academy page. And based on the terms and conditions that are currently outlaid on the John Maxwell team, you can't do that. You can only have content about John Maxwell that lasts 90 seconds or less. These are things that were not part of when I signed up, right? This is not what I was sold. This is not what my $5,000 paid for back in 2015 and 16. However, they've got some rules, different terms and conditions. And so here it is. I know that I'm making it. So, you know me, right? Silver lining on the cloud guy, right? So you know me, opportunity within the obstacles. Obviously, if people from the John Maxwell team are finding the Mañana No Mas Academy or getting reports about the Mañana No Mas Academy, because their email says they've gotten reports, right? So if they're getting reports about the Mañana No Mas Academy and they're questioning the content that's on the Mañana No Mas Academy, well, then obviously the Mañana No Mas Academy is getting a fair amount of visibility. So, you know, a lot of times people look at their Google Analytics, right? They look at their analytics and they try and decipher, where's this, where's that, where are my viewers coming from, and what is this really, and is this a bot, is this a real thing, and you can get wrapped up in that stuff. But when you get an email from an organization that says you've got content we want you to take down, you know you're doing something right. So, I am not looking to fight with anybody in the John Maxwell organization. I still love John. I still love his work. I still think he's a great guy. I think that, you know, his organization could use a little bit of help. I think my level of disappointment within the Maxwell team, the organization, really it shouldn't be a reflection on John. I mean, it can be because he represents the company so vividly, but changes in policy and procedures and what they offer to people and different member levels and mentorships and all these things, you know, let's just get real. Almost all of these training organizations have something similar to this. And I'm sure that they're all just trying to scramble and figure out a way to optimize the value that they get out of each member, right? I get it. I understand it. I'm not happy about it, but I understand it. For me, getting the Maxwell certification thing done was a personal thing. It was a personal thing to say, I could have done this. I could have been one of the original 12 or 20 or whatever that number was, the original 100. I don't know. But I got an invitation at the very beginning of this John Maxwell team thing, and I couldn't make it happen. And I always wanted to get that missing puzzle piece and finish it. And I did that in 2016. That's it. Right? I take a look at the work I've done with Power Sports. I take a look at the work I've done with you on this channel. I take a look at the work I've done in other regards, building the Power Sport Academy out, right? Being able to mentor hundreds of other businesses and consult with people. That consulting and that communication style and that way that I serve my client, a lot of that's based in what I've learned and studied over the years. John Maxwell's a big part of that. So is Gary Vaynerchuk. So is Tony Robbins. So is, oh my goodness, the list goes on, right, of all these different people. So there's all these tools that I've employed through self-education all this way. I want to be careful how I say things. So starting today, leadership is off the academy. 5 levels of leadership is off the academy. The videos that were on YouTube have all been taken away from public viewing. Will I delete them? Probably, right? I'm not even using them. And here's the other interesting thing. All of the Maxwell stuff that I had listed out in the academy, everybody could access for free. I never made that stuff to turn a profit. My heart was always, and especially this was during the outbreak of the COVID concerns. When COVID broke out, I was like, how do I add value to people? How do I inspire people to find the opportunities within the obstacles and the silver linings on those clouds? And for me, it was, hey, I've got access to this material. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Now, leadership came out long after I was certified in 2015. And I haven't been playing in the playground with the John Maxwell team for years, mainly because of my disappointment. But I'm not going to say it's a bad organization. I'm not going to say that it's a waste of money. It's just, it wasn't fitting me. It didn't match the expectations that I was sold on when I signed up for it. And you know what that's like, right? You sign up for something, it's not exactly what you were told, and you get kind of soured. You go, I'm just going to do my own thing. Well, I've been doing my own thing. And So if they came out with some policy or something about the leader shift property after it was published, I wouldn't have seen it because I wasn't participating in their circles at that time. And so, apparently I broke their policy. I'm a certified person within their network. They're totally within their rights to say, hey, let us bring this to your attention. As far as I know, I'm not getting sued or anything, so that's good. And, I went ahead and took away access to all of that stuff. So if you missed it, you missed it. Here's another message for you. Just like I had to deal with the changing environment at the John Maxwell team, in this digital virtual world, there's always going to be something changing, and there might be something that you miss along the way. If you're watching this right now with Mañana no Más, right, on the morning check-in, think about all the things that you said, oh man, Kurt's got a course on that. I should probably take that. Hey, that's free. I should probably look at that. And then you didn't. That leadership course was good. I thought it was really good. It was just a review of the book, but it brings out the highlights and walks people through the book without having to read the whole book. And, and I encouraged everybody to buy a copy of it. It's really funny. It's funny to me to think about how that worked, right? I was promoting John's book and they got mad at me for promoting John's book. Not mad at me, but the email, right? So anyway, took it down, but it was free. And I told you it was there. And if you didn't go look at it and it didn't add value to you because you didn't look at it, you missed it. It's gone. Things in a virtual world are consistently changing. And I'm thinking about the academy that I currently have. I'm thinking about the selection of courses that I currently have on there. And I'm thinking, do I want to change things? Do I want to update tracks of training? Do I want to put things into like, here's a fitness category. Here's a, mental alertness category. Here's a discipline category that's kind of related to the mental alertness, right? Goal setting, key performance indicators. I mean, I got to figure out, do I want to just keep offering this a la carte training opportunity, or do I want to break things into tracks of training and do that? Because here's newsflash, I've got access to a lot more material and I'm writing material. So this new work that I'm working on, if you remember back, I talked about being on just to have a seat at the edge of the circle, right? As a leader, if I could just have a seat at the edge of the circle with other leaders and we all pour into the people in the middle, right? And hopefully bring more people out to those edges as that begins to fill up, right? I'm thinking of like a funnel, right? That to me is a blessing. I can't be the everything leader to everybody. It's just not realistic, right? John Maxwell can't be the leadership leader for everybody. Gary Vaynerchuk can't be the leadership leader for everybody. Tony Robbins, Russell Brunson, Dean, I can always forget Dean's last name, but Dean, famous guy, hangs out with Tony Robbins and the guys, right? Grazioni, right? Is it Grazioni? I want to say it's Grazioni, but I could be wrong. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm just naming names to name names at this point, right? But anyway, my idea is people need more than one leader to look to. And so your goal is to just be a leader that has that seat on the edge and pour into the people that you can focus in on. And I really enjoy that thought because it takes the pressure off of leadership. I have a lot of people that I do business consulting with, or that I am, for lack of a better term, saying that I'm part of a mastermind with a group of people. And sometimes there's that pressure of, I got to have the answers to everything. I don't have to have the answers to everything. These are the things I focus on. I focus on leadership communication, relationships with customers, and processes that make the service side of business run smoother. I don't have to be an expert on sales because, newsflash, I'm friends with people that are experts in sales, right? So I can be the leader for fixed operations or service. And, somebody like my buddy Joe with the dojo, right? The SOS dojo, he can be your sales expert. Somebody else can be your marketing expert. Like I'm friends with Tim over at Giver Marketing, right? Tim can be your marketing expert. And then let's say, you want to talk about raising kids. Well, someone might take a look at me and go, well, Kurt's doing a great job raising his kids. I want to talk to him about raising kids. Newsflash, I don't really think I'm in a position to give people advice on how to raise kids. There are other experts out there that will gladly take that standard and march forward with it and give you advice on how to raise your kids. And so I'm very focused on what's my expertise, what value do I add to people, and I don't want to say limit myself because I don't believe in personal limitations, but as far as what I'll share with others, I want to stay in my lane. I want to stay in my lane, and I just want to enjoy that seat at the edge of the circle, right? And be part of that circle for those people. And you can be in multiple circles and you can assist multiple people, but if you stay in your lane and focus on your strengths, it takes the pressure off of you so that you don't have to be everything to everybody. And so long and short of it, I'm working on the book. The book will be out shortly. It's got kind of a nice title, I hope, right? And I like the way that it's forged forward. When I think about what I've gone through with this JMT thing, again, I have a little bit of disappointment. I don't regret going through it. I don't mind spending the $5,000 to get what I've got from it. $5,000 was a lot of money. It was a lot of money back then. But I think the focus that I want to stress is I'm looking at how these companies are pushing their processes and building their businesses and optimizing their customer flow off of this. And I know that when I put out this particular work, it's going to lead to trainings and masterminds and public speaking and all of those things that I love to do. I love to do it, but I want to be more straightforward with what I come out with. And so I'm struggling right now thinking what that might look like. And I'd love your feedback on this. I really would love your feedback on this. Because to be honest with you, to take $5,000 from somebody to talk them into coming to a live event for 2 or 3 days, and then while they're there for 2 or 3 days, tell them that there's so much more they could get access to if they would just come off their checkbook and start writing a car payment every month for higher level access. That to me is just not what I want to do to folks, right? And so as I put this together, as I orchestrate the back end of this, I'm super intrigued to get some feedback from you folks. And there are some of you that I'll be reaching out to for material to interview and possibly include you in this work as it takes more and more shape. So if you're open to being part of the book, having quotes within the book, or maybe giving me some ideas on what you think a new paradigm in leadership training should look like, I'd love to hear it. All right. So I almost want to say that's the agenda, but I got one more cool thing. Did you guys see the truck? The truck is awesome. So I started a new van life channel on YouTube. So it's Mañana Van Life, right? So Mañana Van Life is the new channel, and I'm going to be documenting the build of this SWAT truck into a camper van that I'll be using to go and visit clients and do public speaking tours and all of that kind of stuff. Without going into the weeds too far, I'm not real happy with what I'm seeing as the potential future of travel in our country with, planes, trains, right? Barcodes in your phone and QR codes and all this stuff to have access to go and do things. It's getting kind of wacky. And so having this travel van is going to enable me to stay fit. It's going to enable me to take my mountain bike with me when I go to travel out of state. And so I'll be able to travel, be able to take my mountain bike with me. I'll be able to camp and enjoy nature and see things all over the place. And I'll have access to Wi-Fi while I'm in the camper van, and I can still get work done. I can work on the computer. Family can come with me. Traveling by plane and rental car and hotel and all that, besides being economically not feasible to carry a family of 4 with you some places, it's just not as much fun. And I want to enjoy what I'm doing. I want to love what I'm doing. And so this is a channel for me to build, to share that experience with you and to keep moving. So in the Mañana No Mas website, if you go mañananomas.com/van life, you'll see the very beginnings of this project. And I'm going to start adding posts to that and to the YouTube channel that's Mañana Van Life, and just trying to keep you guys in the loop and make this more interesting as we go. Folks, Happy hump day. I hope you're having a fantastic week. I'm going to start hitting the phones and trying to connect with some dealers out there that might be interested in the Power Sport Academy. And I'm looking forward to touching base with as many